Hello students, chapter 11, the making of the national movement 1870s to 1947. This is the next chapter of history and today we'll start part 1 of this chapter. Part 1 of this chapter. This is the image during the national movement. Police, tear gas, demonstrators. During the Quit India movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi in 1942 against the British during the Second World War. In the previous chapters, we have looked at what we have studied till now in the previous chapters in this book. The British conquest of territories and takeover of kingdoms. After 1757, when the Plassey battle was won by the British, and then gradually they conquered different kinds of territories. They annexed the territories and got the political power in their hands. Introduction of new laws and administrative institutions. So different acts were passed, new laws were passed, and these acts affected the lives of the people. Changes in the lives of peasants and tribals. Due to these laws and acts, the life of peasants and tribals was completely changed. Educational changes in the 19th century, when Western education was implemented in 1835, and after that, debates regarding the condition of women. Condition of women also was reformed by the British. It was very miserable. Challenges to the caste system. Raja Ram Mohan Roy took the first step against casteism, and then the social and religious reform, the revolt of 1857 and its aftermath, when the British Parliament got direct control over India and its territory, the decline of crafts and growth of industries. So these things we have discussed till now in this book. On the basis of what you have read about these issues, do you think Indians were discontented with British rule? If so, how were different groups and classes dissatisfied? So definitely Indian people were dissatisfied due to the policies of the British, and after that they started to revolt against the British. The next topic is the emergence of nationalism. Before discussing about this chapter, we should know what is nationalism and what were the causes of emergence of nationalism in India. What is nationalism? Nationalism is a feeling of love or pride of people for their own country, territory, and their people. Now we'll discuss about the causes of emergence of nationalism in India. What were the causes? First, political unity. You know that British conquered most of the parts of India, and they established single government, the British government. So this was the political unity. It developed the sense of nationalism in the people of India. Second one, Western education. It played very important role in the emergence of nationalism in India, because due to Western education, the people read the ideas and thoughts of the Western political thinkers, and they became aware about their rights, and they started to oppose the British policies. Next cause was development of communication. Communication became very important for the people in India against the British, because due to the development of communication, the people became united against the British government, and the ideas of freedom and equality and their rights, etc., reached to the people, to the common people. Next is modern press, the development of modern press. It was also very important for the people, and modern press means made available the real information about the functioning of the British government towards Indians, right? And they came to know about the policies of the British, that how they were wrong for Indians. So they became against the British policies and British government. Next one is economic exploitation. Due to this, the Indians became poorer, and so they were not happy with the British government due to economic exploitation. Impact of international events. Some international events affected the ideas of Indians, like American Revolution 1776, French Revolution 1789. After that, again, French Revolution in 1848. 1821 to 1832, this was the Greece freedom movement. It was also very important. And after that, Russian Revolution also was very important in this series. After that, social and religious reforms. In India, the British did some social and religious reforms. Many reformers also played very important role to remove some social evils. Repressive policy of the British. The British government adopted the repressive policy against the Indians that enraged Indian people against the British. And then emergence of middle class. Middle class was the most important class, or the section of the Indian society that made aware the people about their reality, about their real rights, about their freedom, equality, etc. Then Indian people started to think about freedom from the British, and they started freedom movement against the British. So this was the section in which we have discussed about the causes of emergence of nationalism in India. Now we'll discuss about the emergence of nationalism. The process. What was the process? You know that consciousness due to the above reasons we discussed began to be clearly stated by the political associations formed after 1850, especially those that came into being in the 1870s and 1880s. Most of these were led by English educated professionals such as lawyers, engineers, etc. The more important ones were the Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, the Indian Association, the Madras Mahajan Sabha, the Bombay Presidency Association, and of course the Indian National Congress. The name Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, Pune, it was established in Pune. Sarvajanik, what is the word meaning of Sarvajanik? The literal meaning of Sarvajanik is of or for all the people. Sarva means all, and Janik means of the people. So this was for all the people. Though many of these associations functioned in specific parts of the country, their goals were stated as the goals of the people, all the people of India, not those of any one region, community, or class. So especially this organization was not for only one region, community, or only one class. It was for all the people. They worked with the idea that the people should be sovereign. What is the meaning of sovereign? Sovereign means there is no external effect, there is no external intervention or interfere. A modern consciousness and a key feature of nationalism, it was sovereign. In other words, we can say that they believed that the Indian people should be empowered to take decisions regarding their affairs. So the power to take decisions only should be existing in Indian people. So it was Pune Sarvajanik Sabha, established on 2nd April 1870 at Pune by Mahadev Govinda Ranade, G.V. Joshi, etc. What was the main aim? It was a mediating body between government and people. The Arms Act 1878, the Vernacular Press Act 1878, and the Ilbert Bill 1883 were also very important incidents and policies of the British, which developed the feeling of dissatisfaction among the Indians against the British. Right? The Arms Act, it was passed in 1878, disallowing Indians from possessing arms. It means according to this act, Indians were not allowed to keep arms. In the same year, the Vernacular Press Act was passed. It was enacted in an effort to silence those who were critical of the government. It means according to this act, The Indian newspapers were not allowed to publish the news against the British without the permission of the British government. If the newspaper published anything that was found objectionable for British government, it was confiscated, the newspaper was closed by the British government. Again, in 1883, there was a furor over the attempt by the government to introduce the Ilbert Bill. This bill provided for the trial of the British or European persons by Indians. It means Indian judges were allowed to hear the cases against the European criminals, right? But the British people opposed it, and under the pressure of the British people, the government took back this decision, and this enraged the Indians against the British government, and they became dissatisfied for the British government. Now we'll discuss about the establishment of Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress was established in December 1885 at Bombay, when 72 delegates from all over the country met in Tezpal Gokuldas Sanskrit College. A retired British official, A.O. Hume, Alan Octavian Hume, played very important role in the establishment of the Indian National Congress. He is known as the founder of Indian National Congress. And W.C. Banerjee, Vyomesh Chandra Banerjee, was the first president of this organization. The early leadership was under the hands of Dadabhai Nauroji, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tayyabji, and W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Romesh Chandra Dutt, S. Subramaniam Iyer, and other leaders from Bombay and Calcutta. Dear students, now we'll discuss about a nation in the making. This is the next topic. In this topic, we'll discuss about the policies of the Congress, early policies of the Congress. It has often been said that the Congress in the first 20 years, 1885 to 1905, this period, these 20 years are known as moderate periods of Congress, right? In these years, the leaders adopted the moderate methods. During this period, it demanded a greater voice for Indians in the government and in administration. It wanted the legislative councils to be made more representatives, given more power, and introduced in the provinces where none existed. Where these was not there, these organizations were not there. So in these kinds of provinces, they wanted more representation. It demanded that Indians be placed in high positions, because earlier the Indians were not provided with the high positions in the government. So for this purpose, it called for civil service examinations to be held in India as well, not just in London, because you know that earlier only in London the civil service examination were held. The demand for Indianization of the administration was part of a movement against racism, since most important jobs at the time were monopolized by white officials, and the British generally assumed that Indians could not be given positions of responsibility. Since British officers were sending a major part of their large salaries home, Indianization, it was hoped, would also reduce the drain of wealth to England, because the money from India went to England by the British officers. It was carried. Other demands included the separation of the judiciary from executive, the repeal of the Arms Act, and the freedom of speech and expression. These were the early demands of Congress. And early Congress also raised a number of economic issues. It declared that British rule had led to poverty and famine, so this problem should be solved. Increase in the land revenue had impoverished peasants and zamindars, and exports of grains to Europe had created food shortage, due to which famines are existing in the country. The Congress demanded reduction of revenue, cut in military expenditure. These were the early demands of Congress. You should remember, military expenditure and more funds for irrigation. It passed many resolutions on the salt tax, treatment of Indian laborers abroad, and the sufferings of forest dwellers caused by an interfering forest administration. All this shows that despite being a body of the educated elite. The Congress did not talk only on behalf of the professional groups, zamindars or industrialists, but it raised the voice of common people also, of laborers also, of peasants also, etc. So in this way, dear students, we have understood what were the early demands of Indian National Congress. Now we'll study about moderate leaders. What were the methods of moderate leaders? Moderate leaders wanted to develop public awareness about the unjust nature of British rule. They published newspapers, wrote articles, and showed how British rule was leading to the economic ruin of the country. They criticized British rule in their speeches and sent representatives to different parts of the country to mobilize public opinion. They felt that the British had a respect for the ideals of freedom and justice, and so they would accept the just demands of Indians. What was necessary, therefore, was to express these demands and make the government aware of the feelings of Indians. Here, one more thing we have understood, that moderate leaders were not completely against the British. Clear? They thought that British was the good government, but we have to raise our voice and we have to make it reach to the British government. Right? So these were the moderate methods. They believed in the constitutional reforms and demanding in front of the British. They also believed in the policy of prayers, right? Writing letters and strike, etc. So this was the policy of prayer. Now, freedom is our birthright. In this topic we'll discuss about the extremist, the thinking of extremist. Some leaders were not in favor of the policies adopted by the moderate leaders. Clear? Among these leaders were Bipin Chandra Pal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Lala Lajpat Rai. Bipin Chandra Pal from Bengal, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, BG Tilak was from Maharashtra, and Lala Lajpat Rai from Punjab. These are known as Lal, Bal, Pal, right? So these leaders, Aurobindo Ghosh also, these leaders were known as extremist. Clear? They were not in favor of the policies adopted by the moderates. They wanted to fight and they criticized the moderates for their politics of prayers and emphasized the importance of self-reliance and constructive work. They argued that people must rely on their own strength, not on the good intentions of the government, right? We should not depend on the good governance or good intentions of the government. We have to fight and we have to claim for that. People must fight for Swaraj. Tilak raised the slogan, freedom is my birthright and I shall have it. So this slogan was given by extremist leader Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Now, in 1905, Viceroy Curzon partitioned Bengal. He divided Bengal into two parts. West Bengal, it was for Hindus, and East Bengal for Muslims, right? For Muslims. Why did he why divide Bengal? Because he wanted to divide the people on the basis of religion. Clear? So after that, the people raised the movement, Swadeshi and boycott movement against the British, and on this issue the leaders of Congress divided into two parts. Clear? Those who did not want to start Swadeshi and boycott movement were moderates, and those who wanted to start the movement were extremist leaders. Clear? So it led to the split of Congress in Surat Congress session in 1907. So this was about moderates and radicals. And this was you can see, this is the figure 4. Thousands joined the demonstrations during the Swadeshi movement after Bengal partition. After the Bengal partition, the people came on the roads and they raised the slogans of Vande Mataram, right? Notice the name of newspaper, the lies on the table. Kesari, a Marathi newspaper. Kesari was the Marathi newspaper. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was the editor of this newspaper. You can see here, Kesari newspaper. So it was edited by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. And another, this one, Dadabhai Nauroji. Nauroji's book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India offered a scathing scathing criticism of the economic impact of the British rule. Lala Lajpat Rai, a nationalist from Punjab, he was one of the leading members of radical group, extremist group, clear, and critical of the politics of petitions, and he did not believe in the policy of prayers. He was also an active member of the Arya Samaj, clear. So what was the impact of Swadeshi and boycott movement? As I told you that what was this movement? Swadeshi means Swadeshi, self-made means made in our country, that should be used, and foreign clothes, foreign goods should be boycotted. So this was the Swadeshi movement and Swadeshi and boycott movement. It focused on the ideas of self-help, Swadeshi enterprise, national education, and use of Indian languages. And to fight for Swaraj, the radicals advocated mass mobilization and boycott of the British institutions and goods. Clear? So this was the revolutionary violence. So revolutionary violence was the main policy of the extremist leaders. After that, Muslim League was established at Dhaka in 1906, and then Surat split, about which we have discussed at Surat Congress session. The Congress was divided into two parts, moderates and extremist or radicals. So dear students, in the next video we will discuss about the growth of mass nationalism. So I hope that you have understood whatever we have discussed in this video, and read from the textbook and watch this video carefully again. Thank you. Have a nice day.